The altcoin market is seeing a nice bounce here after pulling back over the past month, and there is still plenty of evidence to suggest that we are not yet even in alt season. So in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show, I'm going to break down the top 3 coins that I am looking at for the month of May before we start to see alts really take off. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do enjoy the content, please consider hitting that sub and like button and turn that notification bell on so you can be notified when all of our latest videos go live on the channel. So we're going to hop right into today's altcoins of discussion. But first, I do want to take a look at the evidence, the very strong evidence in my opinion, to suggest that we have not yet entered alt season and it is still a good time to be accumulating. So here is the alt 3 chart. So this is the total crypto market cap minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. So effectively the entire altcoin market wrapped up in one index. And we can see here, if we actually take a look at its drawdown from previous all-time highs, it is still down about 41% from the levels that we saw back in 2021. Now, if we take a look at Bitcoin, this paints a very different picture when compared to the altcoin market. Bitcoin is, if we actually take a look at the 2021 all-time high, it's only down about 7%, and it already breached a new all-time high in March. And once again, we were back up there in April. So Bitcoin has been a lot stronger than the rest of the altcoin market overall. Obviously, some select altcoins have been outperformers like Render and others that we have discussed frequently on the channel. But the Bitcoin dominance chart here also indicates that Bitcoin has really been experiencing majority of these gains. A lot of the move up in the total crypto market cap is from Bitcoin. And therefore, I believe there is still a lot of value to be derived from the altcoin market. And I don't think we are officially in alt season until we are close to and actually breaking above those previous cycle all-time highs. That is when I think the real FOMO kicks into the altcoin market. So without further ado, we're going to take a look at spot number 3 for the month of May, and that's going to be Render. So Render is my favorite AI coin here on the channel. We've been talking about this project since last year. And if we take a look at the performance of this altcoin from the beginning of 2023, let's go ahead and take the price range there. And yeah, at the moment, this coin is up about 1,800% from its 2023 bottom. And I do still believe this has a lot of room to run, currently sitting at a $3.4 billion market cap. Now, the one big catalyst for the Render network that I do see coming up is RNP11 that has not been approved yet, but I believe that it most likely will be approved. And just for some context on why RNP11 is so important, the Render network essentially offers decentralized GPU infrastructure. It is a blockchain marketplace for idle GPU compute for 3D content creation, and they have also transitioned into offering this GPU compute for AI purposes. So, large language models and things along that line. And we know AI has been a big narrative in the market, and the demand for AI is exponential. The supply is the bottleneck, and that is something that the Render network is looking to solve with their GPU infrastructure. Now, what RNP11 is looking to do is basically further build upon the utility of the Render token. So Render recently partnered with Stability AI, and for some context, this is one of the biggest AI companies in the world, and they are working with Render to create a data set for 3D asset training. So leveraging the multi-actor composition of the Render network, nodes, users, and community members will be able to participate in the creation and benefits of this data set. Now, to train models using this data set, buyers will need to license the data with Render tokens. And it also includes plans for staking on Render and, getting some passive income from this token as well. This proposal right here, RNP11, is probably the biggest one in my opinion since they made that transition into AI. And This will, further increase the utility of the render token while also increasing the demand by shifting the supply demand structure and removing some render from the buying and selling markets as it is being staked on the network. So definitely a big one in my opinion, and I think that if this gets approved, that it will be bullish for the price action. And speaking of the price action, I do think it's worth mentioning that at the moment, Render has broken back above its 2021 all-time high, which sits at $8.82. I was saying here during the drawdown that I felt the bull market support band would be a good place to buy, a good area of support. We have bounced off of that clean here on the weekly candles, and we are now back above the 2021 all-time high. So Render looks really strong to me at the moment, and generally speaking, I think that the alts that show strength in the beginning of a bull market do tend to stay, showing strength. Solana is a great example of that, and I think Render is another prime example of an altcoin that I believe will be a big winner moving forward. Now, for spot number 2, I do want to speak about Crowcoin, and this is again a technical trade, but also from a fundamental perspective, there is a big narrative, sort of like a big bullish piece of news that will be coming in the month of June. And that's going to be the Cronos hyperchain. So the Cronos hyperchain is basically their layer 2 solution, and they're looking to solve some big issues with the current, DeFi landscape with this hyperchain. I'm definitely, I think that this will be a big deal for the Cronos network overall. So there are 3 main things that they are trying to achieve with this, and what they're trying to do is achieve or sort of fix 3 issues. The first one is liquidity fragmentation amongst all the different layer 1s, layer 2s, complexity and yield generation, and a complex UX. So just for some context, you actually have the Cronos ZK EVM, which is a layer 2, which means it is compatible with Ethereum and other hyperchains as well. Now, they also, you can see the entire ecosystem here as a whole. So there's the Cronos POS chain, the layer 0, which is where everybody stakes their CRO, or not where everybody, but where a lot of people are staking their CRO. About 36% of all the total circulating supply of this altcoin is staked on the Cronos POS chain at the moment, earning about a 7.5% yield. Then you have the Cronos Layer 1, which is basically the DeFi side of the Cronos ecosystem. That's where all the DEX is, the lending, the derivatives trading. That's where all of that is. And now what this Cronos ZK EVM is going to do is actually connect to Ethereum. It's going to connect all these ecosystems together. And something I think is really cool about Cronos, it's technically the Cronos Zero Knowledge EVM. I'm just calling it the Cronos Hyperchain because I think that's a much more, accurate and kind of easy to understand idea of what they're looking to achieve. So basically, they're going to offer yield-bearing assets, okay? And this is a big one. So instead of having to stake your tokens, they're going to have rebasing tokens automatically accruing yields on the network. So for example, when you move your CRO from the Cronos chain to the Cronos hyperchain, you're going to be getting ZK CRO, which will be automatically generating yield. Same thing with ZK ETH, same thing with a stablecoin, most likely USDC, so probably USDT as well. So effectively, this means that just by having your tokens on the layer 2, you're going to be earning yield on it. I think that is a very big thing for the ease of use. And then last but not least, a current pain point with DeFi is the complex UX, and they're looking to basically kind of curb that with smart accounts, creating a butter smooth UX. So taking care of a lot of the transaction signing and that stuff on the back end, and offering a much easier front-end experience. Now, I do think that if this chain is able to take off and see mass adoption, that will be the 3rd chain in the Cronos ecosystem, and, the more the chain is being used, the more Cronos coin will be purchased and just utilized for gas and other purposes. So I do think that overall, even if we put the fundamentals aside of what this would mean for Crowcoin, just the fact that we have this hyperchain coming up, the launch, I think that can make for a very interesting trade narrative, and especially at a time, okay, where the Cronos chart looks like it is primed for a big move to the upside. So I want to break this down. Let me get on a 6-month here. Let me fix the chart. No, that is not fixed. Okay, we're going to try again. No. Trading View has just not been, it's not been cooperating lately. Okay, we got it. So here's the CRO USD chart. Now, what I'm noticing here is a very similar pattern structure to what we saw back in October of 2023 when this altcoin broke out. So we saw a breakout above the bull market support band, 140% pump. Then the coin actually pulled back about 40% from the local highs. It found support at the bull market support band, went on another 140% run more or less. And at the moment, we can see that from that other local high it put in, it pulled back once again about 40%. Now it is bouncing off the bull market support band. It looks like it is breaking this downtrend over here once again. So yeah, it does look to me like it wants to make a move back up to that 20-cent level. And if we actually take a look here at the chart, and you can see here I've circled in orange all the times where 20 cents has acted as significant resistance. And when we actually broke above it here and went on a big run above that, the CRO coin pumped up to about 96 cents. So that was give or take about a 350% move there on that breakout above 20 cents. So historically, it does kind of tend to be a magnet for resistance. And I do think that if the market does continue to look bullish, that is probably where CRO wants to make its way back up. And especially with the narrative of the hyperchain as well. So that's why CRO is spot number 2 on this list. And now taking a look at spot number 1, I do want to speak about Quant. And the main reason I kind of want to talk about this, not even from a fundamental perspective, because I've spoken a lot about the fundamentals of this token. The big thing that I'm kind of looking at from a technical perspective here is the fact that Quant to me looks very, very similar to what Chainlink actually looked like before it went on a massive breakout move to the upside. So let me get this off log. Yeah, so Chainlink here, you can see it basically consolidated in this range of about $9.50 to $5.50 for 525 days before breaking out. And we were covering it in this range, pretty much saying, the longer you base, the more you melt face. You exhaust all the selling pressure down here, and then boom, by the time Chainlink breaks out, all the sellers have pretty much already sold, over the past year and a half, year and 3/4. So Quant looks very similar to what Chainlink actually looked like prior to its breakout. Okay, if we take a look at Quant here, you can see Quant is also trading within this range from, give or take like 85 up to 150. And I think that once Quant breaks out above 150, that is when we're going to see a much more aggressive move for this coin to the upside. So from a technical perspective, I do want to put this in the video because I think that when this thing breaks out, it is going to catch a lot of people off of guard. But the matter of fact is we are still below the bull market support band, and we are in the lower area of that range. So I don't know exactly when that's going to happen. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball to let me know, but this is definitely something that I am watching for that breakout. And I think that once it gets above 150, that'll make for a very interesting trading opportunity. So on that note, I hope you did enjoy the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.